Hi, welcome back. Uh, in a previous tutorial, I did a demo using TableView. In that demo, we listed all the data in our employee table in a table view. And as you saw in table view, you can easily sort data. What I also did, the combo box here, we filtered the employees in the table according to the department. We added one manually. We added this all entry to the list of items in the combo box to show all employees. However, there was no edit, no add, and no update. This application is going to grow now. We will add some functionality to it in which we will be able to add new employees, update an existing employee, or delete an existing one. Let us see the final solution. We will update our application to do something like this. As you see here, we have a bottom panel. This is a simple Hbox panel, but with a lot of functionality. Same employees here. We will add things like if you click in a button, you can delete or update an employee. For example, let me delete this guy. If you click on Bill Gates now, you can update his salary. Update, salary, updated. If you select any employee, you will be able to see his data also here at the bottom panel. So the bottom panel will be refreshed every time you change the selected row. This is going to be a simple mouse event. And you will also be able to clear the data. Let us just test adding a new employee, Steve Jobs, and this is the salary of Steve Jobs, add. So we will be able to add, update, delete all the employees in our table. Let's get started. I will go to the same application. I will actually copy the same code even to a new class. I'll create a new JavaFX main class. I'll call it depth employee CRUD. CRUD is a term in computers, create, update, delete. So our new class is called depth employee CRUD. I will copy all the code from the previous one, all the code here. I'll copy it to the depth employee CRUD, and I'll just change the last name. Let's make sure everything is running after we did the copy. Okay, we're going to start from here. Now we have two choices. Either we create the bottom panel here in the same class, or create it in a separate class and use it in our main class. I prefer doing it in a separate class because if you do it in a separate class, you can reuse it again and again in different applications. It will be a simple employee panel. It will grow with us to the end. We will keep adding controls to it. So I'm going to call it emp panel. So the class name is emp panel. What we're going to do in this emp panel, we can create simple things like build the bottom panel here. Let me remind you what is the bottom panel. This is the one. I will actually do the first, all of the first button, ID, name, salary text box in that panel. I will keep the buttons here to be done in the main class. So that will be some kind of a passive panel. So let's see, we need 3 labels, we need 3 text boxes, and we need a button. The button is clear, the labels ID name salary, text boxes ID name salary. So I will go to the M panel here. Let me first define my things here. I'll use a text field. First one will be ID txt equals new text field or text field. And I need 3 text fields here. And the second one will be for the name attribute. The third one for the salary attribute. I also need a button. The button will be called clear btn, a new button. And the title or the text there will be clear. And let us just import the button. No need to create the labels in the global scope because you don't need to access them programmatically. Now I'll make a method. I'll call the method getEmployeePanel, for example. So the method is going to be a public method. Public. It will return hbox, and I'll call it getEmployeePanel. Here inside this method, I'm going to build the panel or the pane of the employee. So in the beginning, I need to create hbox. I'll call it emp pane. Okay. Equals new hbox, for example. I make spacing like 10. Let me set alignment m pane dot set alignment. We can use something like position dot baseline center, and let's do the padding m pane dot set padding, and we can say new insets. And from all sides, I just need to import the inset of JavaX, not of Java AWT. Okay. We have 3 labels. Label, ID, label, new label, and the text will be ID. Import the label. Just do this again and again for the name label and name, and finally salary label, and here. Now I can add the items to the panel. They're going to be very simple, one by one. And I can also, if you think the name txt needs more width, you can set the width. For example, you can say ID txt, the set preferred width, for example, like 20 or 25. And you can do the same thing for the salary and the name. So here I'm going to say name txt 125 and salary will be 25 salary. So now I have the width for all of them. I need now to add all of them in the same order to the panel. My panel name here, emp pane. I will say dot get children dot add all. We will do them one by one. ID LBL, then ID TXT, name LBL, name TXT, salary LBL, and salary TXT. So now all of them are added. Here we have need. And I can finally return the panel, return EMP pane. So once we create an instance of this class, we will call the get employee panel, and it will create all the code here and return the panel to us. I think we forgot one thing here. I need actually a button here. I'll call it, oh, we did the clear button, what we did not add it. So let me add it at the beginning, clear btn. We will come back to this button because it's got so many functionalities. So the first thing I did here is just adding the panel to our, or creating a panel. The class name is mPanel, and it has a method that returns the employee panel. We will do a lot of work with this class. Now let me go to my application here. I will now create an instance of the, let's say, M panel, EMP pane. Okay. We will then use this object in our main. Okay. We can do here like, let's initialize it here to avoid any problems using the, during the demo. A new EMP panel, and that's it. Default constructor only there. Okay, EMP cannot be resolved to a type, capital E. Good. So now here, I will, when I need the panel, I will say here, the panel, when I need it from the employee panel, I will call this method and it will return a complete panel to us. Let me go back to the main one. I can create a panel here, Hatchbox. I'll call it bottom pane, okay, which is an Hatchbox. And here now, inside my start method, I'll say bottom pane is equal to, I'll call the object employee panel and get employee panel, the method that builds and returns the Hatchbox. Once that method and cannot be resolved to a value, bottom or button here, we need to change this to an. Okay. Once we get the panel, we need to set it to the bottom part of our window. So I will say root.set bottom and put the bottom pane here. Let's see if this is going to make a change. Let us run. It did. We have the panel here. We have the clear button, ID, name, salary. Of course, nothing is, no functionality. Only the basic view is added. So let's see what's the next step. The next step, let's go one by one. The next step, I want when I click, for example, on a button here, I want when I click on a row in the table to get the information and put them in their corresponding text fields. So that's going to be a mouse click actually event. We need to do some kind of mouse click event to the table itself. We can add the set on mouse click and update the view. For example, we can update the view of the table. Let us see how this is going to be done. I will go back here. I'll go back to the employee table, and I will say here, emps table. This is a table view dot set on mouse click. This is going to be some kind of a mouse event when you click on side the table. So what we're going to do here, we need to kind of, I prefer calling a method because this is going to be needed more than once. So I'll say a mouse event and call a method like update view or update employee view. The update employee view is going to be a method in this class that takes the employee data, the selected employee data, and put them inside the bottom panel. So let us do a private method here, private void, and the method name is update employee view, and that's it. Now what to do in the update view? I need to get the selected employee. You know, in our table view, it's a table view of employees. If you ask the table to get the selected item, it will return an employee. So first we need to get the selected employee. You can do this easily by saying employee selected equals, you will ask the table, emps table, get selection model, and then get selected item. So it will return an employee. So now you have the employee, you can update it. You can update the view. Let me just show you what happens now. Let me just output a method here, sysout row clicked. Row clicked. Let's do this now, run. So now, whenever you click in a row, on a row, that event is fired, and we are handling it here in this method. So let me remove this now. So what you're going to do with this employee? Well, I can do so many things, but one of the things, why don't we send this employee to the panel? The panel, we will leave most of the view here to this, our simple panel. The panel we created at the beginning. We can add a new method in this panel class, and once we send an employee object to it, it fills those text fields with the employee data. You can do the same inside the main class, but this thing's going to be a lot inside one class. So now I'm going to do here, update view. I'm going to call my employee panel object, good, and dot set employee view, any method, and I'll set the selected employee with it. Now there is no set employee view in the pane class, in the employee panel class. I will go there and panel. I'll make another public method, public void set employee view. This one will take an employee. Let me call it current employee or selected employee. It should be a simple thing. Import the employee. Now I just need to set the values for the text fields. You can say id txt dot set text. You can do now selected, which is an employee object, get id. But remember, id is an integer. So you either can do something like this, or you get value of, or do some, and you can do integer dot value of, and this is a value now. No need to do that plus space here selected. So this way you are converting the set text. Let's see here. Here, what we need to do, I think one more is needed. Set text is still need value of get ID. Let's see how things work here. To string. So now we are getting the string. We will do the same thing for the other the other two text fields. Name. With name, no need to do anything. It's already a string. And here we'll just do it what? We'll say set text with the selected dot get name. No need to do anything here. The name is already a string. In the last one, which is going to be salary txt, we can do the same thing, but instead of integer, we do double here. And here we, instead of get ID, we say get salary. Hopefully this thing works. Let's save. Let us go back to our main application. So now when you click in a row, the selected employee is found. I send it to my panel here, mPanel. I call the set view employee view. It will show its data in the bottom panel. Let's see. Select. Perfect. Here is our employee data. I think we need to change the width of some items. Okay. We are selecting an employee. Once you select an employee, the employee, as you see here in this code in line 50A, the employee is extracted from the table, is sent to the panel, and the view is updated. Let's see. Let's go back to the panel and change something here. We can make it 45 and 45. Save. Run again and see what happens here. Okay, click. Good. We see some information here and the data is updated. Okay, clear button. Still, we did not do anything to the clear button. We will need the clear button later. But the clear button can be used at least to clear the data. To clear the data in the panel. This is useful when you need to add a new data or a new record. Let me show you how we expect it to work. Let me run the complete application and show you how things are expected. Here now you have some data inside the text field. If you want to clear them, so they will be cleared and you can start adding your own data here. Okay, and put a salary, add, which is fine now. The new user was added. Later we will update the clear data. The clear data will be disabled if no items is selected, and you can clear it. Whenever you need to clear, you can just clear. Clear means set the things here to nothing. So let us go back to the M panel. And where is the clear button? The clear button here in the M panel, well, it was declared here. So let us make an action handler. I will say here clear ptn.set on action, and I'll call a method. The method is going to be very simple. Clear view. Clear view will be used a lot also. The clear view, you will call this method whenever you want to set the data to nothing. So let me make another method. By the way, I'll copy this, copy paste, because I need it actually. Clear view, and it takes no parameters. Okay, so here for each of them, each of the text you clear, you just call the clear method. For the three text boxes, you call the clear method. So now, whenever you click on the clear button, we're gonna clear the data. Maybe we need to set the status of the button to enabled or disabled, but we're going to do this later step by step. Let's see here. Run. Excellent. Okay, let's make it now. I think we need a wider view. Click. You see the data of Steve Jobs. Clear. No data here. So calling a method makes your code modular, manageable, and easy. So, and the methods I'm providing here, they're all public. You still can call them from the main class. And I think you need them sometimes from the main class. So far, we did show the view. We did clear the view and updated the view also. Now let's do add a new employee. We will go back here. So when we run this, we need to, whenever we enter new data, we need to provide an add button here, an add button. So when we click it, we add employees to the tables. I could have done the buttons there, but if you add the buttons there, you will need a lot of other coding. I will add the buttons from inside the main class. Yani, I will look at this panel, and as you know, you can add elements to it. So I'll say get all children and add button to it. So I'll add a button here right next to the salary. It's very simple how to do it. Let's see that. Programmatically, I'll say button add btn equals new button. And this one will be, okay, let's add a title to it. Add. It seems I'm not using any. So this is our add button. It's available here. Good. Right. Next, I need to add it to my bottom panel. Where is my bottom panel? Here, I called it bottom panel, صح? Let me go to the bottom panel, and I will say bottom panel or bottom pane dot get children and dot add it got it على طول add employee button. Let me name it add button to make it simpler. Here, just add button because we are working only with employee. Let's see the view. This is going to be updated. Okay, so as you see here, the add button is added. Since this is done now, let us add two more buttons actually. I need the delete and update button. So I'll call them the same way, delete button, and here I'll call the text delete and update button, and here I'll say update. And here I still need to add them all to the employee panel. Simply get children and add. I can say add all. And in the same order, I can say delete btn and update btn. So let's see the view now quickly. صحيح إنه I got the employee panel from another class, but I still can update it and add more functionality to it. I could have subclassed it and add our own, but let's do that. Since this is our first example, let's not focus on software engineering and object-oriented. Let's focus on the GUI things. Right. Let's do one by one. Now, add. When we click on add, what's going to happen? We need to get the data from the boxes here, from the text fields. And this is step one. Make sure the data is valid. Otherwise, tell the user that we have a problem if the data is invalid or incomplete. Validation can be a 1-minute task or a 1-hour task. It's up to you. It depends on the task you are doing. So now, the add button, what I prefer to is first I need to provide action handler. add btn, set on action, E, let's see, add new, we will call a method, add new employee. So this method will be available here, like some kind of a private method. And let us see what's going to happen here. So add new employee will be our method. So what I'm going to do now, I need to create an object, employee object. Let me run this. I need to get the data from the text boxes or text fields. Then if they are valid, I need to create an employee object, call our data manager to store it to our data files or databases, and update the table view. Add the table, the new employee to the rows of the table. We call it the items of the table. So another good idea, instead of extracting the data here one by one, I can go back to my M panel here and ask my employee panel to return the employee. يعني the employee panel will extract the data, check the correctness, no exceptions, and so on. So let's look at this. I'll go first to the employee panel. I will create a public method here. The public method, let's do it at the bottom. Public. This method will return an employee object. I will call it get, for example, get employee. This method will return an employee. Where are we going to get the employee from? It's from the text fields. So we create an employee. E is equal to null first. Now we need to extract the data. Extract the ID from the text field, the name, and the salary. Of course, you need to do some kind of parsing to parse integers and floating point values. So I need a try catch here. And the catch will be usually number format exception. Catch number format exception. And E. Let's just do this now. I will say here sysout e.getMessage. Okay. So now we need to extract the ID, which is equal to this dot ID txt get text. But this one, as you know, will return string. So I need to say integer dot parse integer ID get text. So if the ID is wrong, there will be some kind of an exception. Second one, it's simple, straightforward. String name equals to name.txt.getText. That's it. Third one will be double and salary, we'll call it. And it will be equal to double.parse double and from salary txt.getText. So now we extracted the three things. If there is an exception or you enter the string instead of the float or integer, okay? See what's the problem here? Number format exception. I don't see a problem, by the way. Yes, okay, I think it's fine. So now, if no exception, so you have an employee. So let me call this ER. You know what's the problem? Because we call the employee E and the exception E. So let the exception remain E, and we can call the employee EMP. Now, if no exceptions, you will remain inside the try. So we'll say EMP dot equals a new employee and ID, name, salary. This is the constructor of the employee that we have been using for more than a month now. Finally, I will return the employee. Once you do this, the red line under the function will disappear. So now, this function, okay, here should be. So now we have our employee. We try to read the employee. If things work fine, we create an employee object. Now we can return it. I could, again, have done this inside the main class, but if you do everything inside the main class, your class will be 10 miles long. Let's just go back here now. So add new employee now. I will say emp equals what? I will call the panel, the mpane here, the same one, to read and try to extract dot get employee. So it will now read the data from the text fields and try to return the employee. If there is an exception or there is a problem, look at this, ya banat or ya shabab, it returns null. So let's go back to the department employee. So what do you think we're going to need now? Now we have the employee, but we need to make sure it's not equal to null. So you can say now here, if what? If EMB is not equal to null, يعني it's a valid employee, do something. What is that thing, ya banat? I need to update my data manager. Data manager dot add new employee EMB. Sorry, add new employee. Add data manager dot add employee and EMP. This is one thing. I still need to update the table. Of course, I need to save data on the data manager. I could have done this in the data manager, but that's fine. Good. So now I save all data, and I need to add the new employee to the table. I need to add the employee to the table, or I can call the table to refresh. يعني here we have a function called somewhere show all employees. This show all employees, ya banat, it will call the data manager after we save the new one. It will return the new list with the new one and set the table items to it. So يعني I can call this one. No need to call the table again and again. Now I know the data have been updated in the files, in the database maybe, on the files and whatever. Good. ماشي. And else I can say here, else sys out error in employee. We will change this to, and here I can say here, also after show all employees or after save data, I can say a new employee added. We will change this, but let us test it. Let me save this. Let me run. Let's try to add a new employee. ID is 765. Name is Muhammad Ali. Salary is 8765. Add. Perfect. The employee was added to the database, as you know, our data manager. Okay. And also the table also was updated. Let me add another one. Now you know the importance of clear. If you want to add another one, you don't want the old data. I'll say clear. I will use, for example, new ID. And here I see Norman Whiteside. And his salary is 1777. Add. Perfect. So we have employees added. If you have some wrong data, like here you enter a name, there will be no call. And you see here, error in employee data. This is good to show error here in employee data, but this is not the best way to do it. What we're going to do now, we're going to provide a status label. A status label is a label where we use whenever we do something, either success or error. I can add the status label next on top here, you can add it anywhere depending on your layout. So I'm going to go back to the my this one main class. I'll create a label. I'll call it status label LBL equals new label. In the beginning, it's what? Empty. Okay. So next, we need just to add the library here, FX from label. Right. Where to put the status label? I believe the best thing is to put it on top, next to the combo box. This is one choice. I don't want to waste time on this decision in the demo, but we can add it like next to the tab panel. So I'm going to make a new very simple variable here, just hbox. I'll call it tab pane equals new hbox. And maybe I'm going to make 20 or something, the spacing. Good. So now we have a tab pane. I'm going to add two things inside it, the tab pane. I'm going to add the combo box of the departments. Where is it? Here. Imps table, new table, depth combo. I'm also going to add the label to it. So let us do this here. I can say now tab pane dot get children dot add all. I will do first the depths combo, and next I will do the status label. This status label, we will keep changing its text. Okay, we will keep changing its text depending on the current situation. So now let us just see this. Okay, we forgot to add the panel here. Instead now of putting only the depths combo on the top panel, okay, here, now I'll put the top pane completely. The top pane now contains what? Both the depths combo and the status label. Of course, nothing is going to show now because the label is empty. Good. So now let us see an example here. When we add new employee, okay, instead of typing something on the screen here, I can show that text on the status label. So let me show you what I'm going to do. Show status. I'll call a method show status employee added successfully. Okay. And this method still needs to, and I'm going to say true. Let me show you what's this. This is something you can create to show some status. So this is going to be private void show status string message and Boolean status. Boolean will be either true or false. We will assume Boolean success. خلينا نسميه. It's better. Boolean success. If it's true, then it's success. If it's false, then it's failure. So here is what we're going to do now. We will say if success, we can do this, you know that, because success is a Boolean. If success, then result label dot set status label, sorry. The label name is label status label dot set text. We will take the message. And the good thing, yani, is to say also status label dot set color or set text fill. We can make it green. Okay, I can say here color dot green. Okay, يعني now I believe you understand that. Else, I'm going to show the same message on the, you can also make a beep or a sound set, but the color will be what? Red. طيب, يعني in all cases, to be a good programmer, on all cases, you're going to set the message Okay, but you're gonna change the color depending on what. You can use any type of if statement or ternary operator. Let's do something now. Let's add a new employee. Okay. Let me just, I need to here to go error. Instead of printing the message here, I will call the show status now. I will call the show status with this error. Okay. And this one will be false. So our label will receive always something, either true or false, and we know if it's success or not. Let us see the example. It will be clear once we run this. Let's try to add a new employee, 9087, whatever name, and salary is correct. Add. You see now here, employee added successfully. Good. If you try to add another employee and there is a mistake whatsoever, okay, here, you enter text here, add, and you see now, you see the error message, error in employee data. Of course, we can do more things. We can show you which one caused the error in red color, but not in this course. Does that make sense? So now we did the add employee. Next thing is the delete employee. Delete employee is when you select an employee, we need to be able to delete it. Okay? So let's go back to the main class. I first need to what? To get the button of delete. So what is the button of delete? I need to add here delete btn dot set on action event delete employee. Same thing, employee. So I'm going to go and create a method here, but delete is going to be simpler because you are not getting any data. Let me just delete employee, call it. Okay. Now you need to get the selected employee to know who is the selected employee. We did this in a previous one here. I can get the selected employee. So what is delete employee here? I can. Now I know which employee is selected. What's next? I need to call the data manager to delete the employee. Let me show you the data manager. We have a method in our data manager called maybe remove employee, right? Here is, we just need the ID of that employee. We just need the ID of that employee. So let me go back to that class. So now here, I will say dm dot remove employee. And what is the ID? The ID will be the selected employee dot get ID. Let me make also data manager dot save. I recommend you do saving على طول whenever you call add or remove. Okay, data manager not save, save all data. Good. So now data is saved, but still once we delete the employee, what we need to do? We also need to remove. We need to do what? Remove the employee from the table, right? There are so many ways how to remove an employee from a table. Let's see some of them. One of them is to get the selected index. Index equals, what's the table name? The table name is emps table dot get selection model. Now we don't select the item. We say get selected index. So this is the integer of the item. Of course, index, if it's 0 or more, then it's a valid one. If it's -1, then nothing is selected. You can add an if statement here. If index is not equal to -1, so don't do it. Nothing is selected. So now, how to remove it? Very simple. I can say now, what is the table name? Emps table dot get. There are so many ways how to do this. Get items dot remove. Remove the index. Once you remove the index, here, things should be fine. Things should be fine. And you can also, show status, like employee show status. See, now you are reusing it. Employee deleted successfully. Let us try to save everything. Okay. There is still one more thing that I need to do here. Okay. Let me delete the last guy here. Make sure it's delete, removed, employee deleted successfully, and it's removed from the table. So what we did, we asked the data manager to remove it, updated the table. One more thing is needed. What is it, ya Banat? One more thing is needed. I just need to clear the data from here. I need to clear the data from here. I know if I click date clear, it will be cleared. But why don't we do it automatically? Like, let us delete this guy now, here. If I delete him, I want his data also to be cleared. It's easy. We already have a clear data. If you remember in our M panel here, we created a clear view. We created a clear view method. So whenever you need it, just call it. This is the good thing about object-oriented programming. And here I can say now, what is the panel name? The panel, I think MPAN here, we called it. MPAN, employee panel. And here, dot clear. Clear view will remove all the data of the selected employee. It's all about events and ordering your actions. So now here I am deleting the last guy. See, once I delete him also, the view will be clear, which is very good. So we did add now. If I try to add now, it's empty. I don't get exceptions or go outside. I get an error message because I check that the object is null. Delete, okay, and update. Next is update. Update, I believe we did not do update in our data manager, but I went and I added a method. I called it update employee. Hopefully the method is still there. Okay, update employee. Here, last one, update employee. I created a method where we update the employee. Of course, we don't change the ID. This is very common in computers, and databases. Once you go to other courses, we don't usually change the ID of the employee. But now what happens? When I click on update button, I need to do the update. So to make our code clean and neat, we will say again the same thing. Update btn dot set on action A and update employee. Okay. Again, I'm going to make what? A new method, private method, and call it update employee. So now we expect, let me show you how this thing is expected to work. We expect when we run this code, like if you take Steve Jobs and you want to change his salary, whatever you change now, if you enter 90 or 10,000, if you click update, we will see what is the new data in the name and the salary, and we will update them also in our tables and files and views. So we will take this data from here and update them. So first I need to get the employee. Tamam? Once I get the employee, and I need to see if I can update it. ماشي الحال. So first I need to get the data from here. If you remember, I created a method in our M panel to get an employee. So I can call this method now again and again. Whenever I want to create an object from the employee, I will call this method. So here I will say employee, for example, E or M. If I need to check if it's not equal to null. Or I can say here, employee E that is equal to M's panel امس panel امس pane صح dot not emps pane. I keep forgetting here its name. Emp panel, the emp panel dot get employee. So it will read whatever in the text boxes and okay. So here I'll say if EMB is not equal to null again, if this is not equal to null, then I will ask the data manager to update it. I created a new method, but I'll call the data manager. Update employee. It will take the employee ID, emb dot. You can make your own method, emb dot get ID, and the employee. Good. And I'll call the data manager to save all data. And if this is going to work, what should I do now? I can say, I still need to what? I need to update the data again. One of the things I can now, I need again to show all employees. You remember the show all employees, we do it whenever we want to show everything. Show all employees, it gets everything again from the files, which is not a bad thing. Yani. We keep reading data again and again from the file. So show all employees, يعني it goes to the file, gets all the new data. One more thing I need. I can say here, show status, employee updated successfully. And I also can clear the view. I can clear the view of, يعني I remove the new data from the panes. Let us see what's going to happen. Hopefully things work. Run. Let's see Steve Jobs now. When you click, data is shown here. His salary was be 111. Update. Okay. Data was not updated in the table. We will see what happens here. Data was not updated in the table. Let us click on him again. And well, updated data, but not in the table. See, data updated in the file. However, okay, where is Steve Jobs now? Still, I need to refresh. You know what happened? The data was updated, but not in the, let me see another one here. Salary is, who's this? Ali Muhammad. We'll make his salary 222. Update. So his salary updated, but it does not show here in the file. It's still in the same data list. So how to do this in the file? Let's go back to the code and see what happens. How to update, how to show this update to the table على طول. Let's see what happens. So if we go back to our code here to see why things were not updated, I'll go back to show all employees. So here, the show all employees actually, it does not update its list, or the list of the table is not updated. To be in the safe side, one good thing to do, of course, you can do this in so many ways. There are advanced ways to do it, but not covered in this course. One of the things that you can do it, you go to the emps table, then you do what? You say get items and dot clear. So you refresh the table here, you clear all the items from the table, then you request the new data again. Let's run this now. Okay, let's see how things going to happen here. Let's update Steve Jobs now, make his salary 888 update. Data is updated. Let's go to Ali, make his salary 999 update, and go to Bill Gates and change his name, Bill Gates Buffett update. So his name was changed and so on. One of the final things here, this is optional, that you might want to do. If nothing is selected here, if nothing is selected, you don't want the data to show here. Yani only when data is selected. You don't want to clear this. You want the data to appear here in the text boxes only when something is selected. This is one thing. The other thing, delete and update buttons should be enabled only if something is selected. Delete and update, it's for something that is existing and selected. If nothing is selected, I believe this delete and update will cause a problem. So what they do usually, they select or they set the status of delete and update to disabled unless something is selected. Only when you select something, the delete or update will be activated or enabled. Yani you cannot click them otherwise. You studied how to bind properties, but this one will be done in a way that we bind the button activated or disabled property to the table selection. If no items or no rows are selected, then this is going to be disabled. We will bind the properties. Once we bind the properties, no need to add any other code. The moment that you select, the buttons will be activated or enabled. If nothing is selected, the buttons will be disabled. Okay, so let's see how to do this code. We will go back here, and this is going to be done at the main application here to the buttons. We need to talk to the buttons and to the table and tell the table that there are things that we need to bind. Bind what? We need to bind the list selection with the status of the buttons. So let's see how this is going to be done. So how are we going to do this? We're going to go to the delete button, btn. We need the disable, see disable, not disabled, property to be bound to what? This is kind of interesting syntax. We have something called bindings dot is empty. Is empty takes a lot of things. And you see how many things here? What we're going to do here, it takes observable list, which is fine. To which observable list? We need to see if the emp table get selection model, get selected items, get selected items. If this is empty, let me make it in 2 lines. Yani now the delete button disable property is equal to the is empty function of the table selection. If nothing is selected, then disable property will be true. If something is selected, then this will be false. So the disable property would be false. Let us run this and show you how things happen. We'll keep both here shown, the code and the, okay, here. See the delete now is disabled. Click, enabled. If you disable, now it's disabled again. If you select something, it's enabled. That's it. We will do the same thing for the update. I'm going to do copy paste this, alas. So binding properties, actually, a lot of the code I'm doing now can be done with binding properties, but not covered in the class. And still, very advanced things here. Now I did both of them. See now? Both are disabled. They can be enabled only if something is selected. Does that make sense? Only if something is selected. If you want to change this data, fine, go and update. But khalas, if nothing is selected, then they are disabled. If you select Steve Jobs, you can delete. If you want to add a new, you can clear. But we can also disable and enable the clear depending on the situation. So now in our example here, we can update data. We can add new data. We also show messages. Okay. That's okay. We show messages, successful or high, and we can clear the buttons and we can delete selections. These are the typical situations that you might need when you work with any type of a GUI. You will be working with a database. You're going to list data, filter data, add new data, update data, delete data. That's it. All the code is available to you. Hopefully you learn from this. Thank you.